Hola clase, bienvenidos al primer video de música y cultura. Um, este video es de Perú. Muy bien. So I just chose this video because I think it was my favorite travel experience to do first. So the llama is sacred in Peru because it was used as a pack animal for the Incas, and it works really well in the high altitudes. And then this is just a picture of my hike on my way to Machu Picchu. And this is the mom of the family that I stayed with in Cusco, and then this is my friend in Lima. And this is a really awesome fruit called I forget what it's called exactly, but it's native to Peru, and I've never seen it anywhere else. Bien. Lima is the capital of Peru. It's a city on the ocean, and then it's surrounded on the backside with mountains. And these are just some pictures from there. This is the capital of Lima. And this is the traditional drink of Peru. It is called a pisco sour, and pisco is a liquor made from grapes that's kind of like tequila or whiskey or something that's really hard liquor, but it's made from grapes instead of whatever else. Bien. So when you go out in Peru, it's really neat because you order your food and they bring you a free drink and a free appetizer usually. So free drinks and appetizers as long as you order food from any restaurant you go to, which is really, really neat. Bien. And then everything in Latin American countries has a legend attached to it. So this bridge is called the Puente de Suspiros, and you're supposed to cross it without breathing to have good luck. And then this church on the other side of it is closed up, and it's supposed to be haunted because a couple hundred years ago, or whenever it was built, there was a big earthquake, and the bell fell from the tower, and as everybody was running out of the church screaming, it cut the priest's head off, like it fell and landed on him and cut him in half. And so they say that you can still hear all the people screaming at night. I didn't hear it, but people say that you could. So Cusco is the capital of Tawantinsuyo, and it's the sacred city of the Incas. Tawantinsuyo is the name of the Incan Empire before the conquistadors came. The Incan language, Quechua, did not have any written form. So they used these things called quipus, which is a series of strings and knots, in order to keep track of their livestock and their crops and etc. This is the main square in the center of Cusco. And then this is really interesting because all the architecture in Cusco is Incan and Spanish, Espanol. So when the Spanish conquistadors came, they tried to destroy all of the Incan architecture or buildings because they were pagan and but because they couldn't actually destroy them, they were built so well, they just built on top of them. So on the bottom it's all Inca, and on the top it's all conquistador. So food. When I was there, the most interesting thing I ate was guinea pig. This is guinea pig, not rat. And the guinea pig are alive and running around, and you choose one, and then they say, okay, perfect, and they clean it up for you, and then they roast it really fast. They stuff it with herbs, and it becomes really super crispy on the outside, and it gets all infused with the herbs, and you eat it with pasta and potatoes. And it wasn't too bad, actually. I couldn't eat the head or the legs or the skin, but I ate the meat inside, and it was not too bad. This is a bonfire where we saw some people roasting potatoes, and we just asked them if we could join them, and we did. And So we had roasted potatoes out in the countryside um, with some native Peruvians, and it was delicious. Actually, potatoes are native to Peru, and they are the highest. They have the most potatoes there that they have in the whole world. So they have over 200 and something types of potatoes in Peru alone. This is the coca leaf. Coca leaves that are used like a tea or a coffee or chewing tobacco in Peru. They are high in caffeine and in calories. So the Incas used to chew them when they would run between Cusco and, for example, Machu Picchu. They would do that run, and all they would do is chew coca leaves to keep them hydrated and fed for as long as it took and give them enough energy to run from place to place in the high altitude that they lived. It's the basis for cocaine when it's chemically transformed, but in this state, it's just like any other tea or coffee. And it's considered sacred to them because it allowed them to survive on very little food and water for so long. They say that you can chew coca leaves and survive for 2 weeks without food or water. So that's why this person is holding it that way, because it's sacred to them. That's how you have to hold it if you are going to use it. This is an Incan watering spot. It's a rest stop essentially for the runners who would go back and forth because they had no written language. They had to just run messages from the king to wherever. And so they have these everywhere. They have lots of springs in the mountains there, and so each one of these watering areas is built around a spring, and they actually bottle this water and sell it still. And so you can drink out of the water in the springs. Sacsayhuaman. This is a fortress outside of the city of Cusco, and it was built to protect the city of Cusco. It was built in a lightning shape for the god of lightning to help protect the city. The god of lightning was also the god of war, I believe, and it's really amazing because of the rocks. The size of the rocks are just incredible. I'm standing here in front of a couple of them, and you can tell that they're far bigger than a human. And this rock alone weighs like 7 tons, and no one knows exactly how they got it up there. And all the rocks fit together so well. They actually have a system of like grooves and indentations, so that like some of the rocks have protrusions and they fit perfectly into the indents of the other rocks, so that everything that they make is earthquake proof, which is really cool, which is why the Spaniards couldn't destroy it. And here you can tell that all the rocks, none of them are square. They all fit together somehow. Like you can see this corner here. It goes around the rock and then down. And so none of them are square. They all fit together so well that they can't be destroyed. Well, no one's ever been able to, but now no one wants to try. Tipon is a sanctuary slash agricultural area. It's a shrine built to the god of water, and it's built around a really, really large spring in the mountain, and then it comes down and they break it into 4 exactly equal, I guess, little waterfalls that symbolize north, south, east, and west, and then they fall together into a big pool that is then divided into these channels that flow out and water the entire agricultural area. And there's no way I could fit the entire agricultural area into a single picture. But all this is done without pumps or any sort of electrical assistance. It's all with gravity and just the spring's water, and it still works today. So you can kind of see as the water comes down the stairs that it's it's watering everything around it. And this is the scenery off the back side of it. So it's basically a big area on a cliff that they built so that they could raise crops there. This is a monument built to the Inca Pachacutec, who supposedly was the architect for all of the Incan masterpieces. And this is what Cusco, modern Cusco, looks like today. These are some beautiful pictures of hikes that I was going on. One city called Pisac. I was trying to climb up this little staircase that has extremely far down drops on it, and no railing, obviously. Not exactly OSHA approved, but it was one of the most amazing hikes that I ever went on. And remember when I was talking about the legends? This is the mountain that Pisac was built on, the city that this one's taken from. And there's a rock over here that you can't really see very well because it's too far away, but it looks like a woman. And so the reason that Pisac is built on this hill is because supposedly there was an Incan Indian who was in love with this other girl, and she didn't really like him very much, but she said, you know, I need you to prove your love to me, and if you can build a bridge from this mountain over here all the way to this mountain, then I will marry you and love you forever, or whatever. And if you don't, then I'm going to turn into stone over here waiting for you to build me a bridge. And so he managed to get up here and build a city, but he could never figure out a way to build a bridge across the mountains. So therefore, there's a statue of a woman who looks, well, a stone that looks like a woman on this side of the valley, or on this side of the mountain. So it's kind of interesting, their legends and stuff. These are just some more examples of that city that's up on that mountain. And these are called andenes. Again, you can kind of see better here than in the last picture about how they had to make flat areas in order to plant their crops, because otherwise, as everything is too hilly in order to grow any food. These are just pictures of how absolutely gorgeous the terrain is and how amazing the hikes are there. And when you go to the top of a mountain, there's always a little tiny pile of rocks that everybody adds a rock to the pile as they climb, when they climb up the mountain, so that they kind of make the mountain higher is the idea. So that's my rock up on top there. And then these are supposed to have these rocks are supposed to have magnetic properties, kind of like those titanium alloy bracelets and stuff that athletes wear, that were supposed to help heal people, and so they were pretty sacred to the Incas as well. The amazing thing is how big they are and how well put together they are, and they're from a quarry that's 7 miles from this spot where they are, and they're on top of a mountain. So once again, everything's on top of a mountain, and how they got them up there, no one knows. So it's really, really amazing. Amazing to see how they did that. Machu Picchu here is one of the 7 wonders of the world. This is the climax of the Incan construction, and it's incredibly amazing. This is the sunrise over Cusco, and you go from Cusco to Machu Picchu, which is a 4-hour train ride or a 4-day hike. And the Incas used to be able to run this distance in less than I heard 4 hours, but I think it was a little longer than that. So anyhow, they used to be able to run it in less than a day, which is incredible. And they attribute that to the power of the cocoa leaf. But anyways, if you can tell, so this is a picture of the ruins of the city, And in the back, they believe that this is the face of the Inca, and he was like a god to them. So here's his chin, and his mouth, and then his nose, and then this is his forehead all the way back down to here, and he's got kind of like a turban around his head, and his eye is right here. So if you can kind of see the face of the Inca in the mountain behind, and that's why they built this city here, because they believed that the Inca was watching over it. And also, it's on top of a mountain, and it's nearly impenetrable. It's got 1,800 stairs to climb up to get to it. And sorry. And this, then I hiked all the way. I hiked all the way up to the city, and then I hiked up the nose, up the back side of it. And then this picture is taken from the tip of the nose down into the city. This is where the city is. And then you can see the little bus trail that they built now to climb up. But the stairs go straight up the middle of the bus trail, and there's over 1,800 stairs to climb up to get there. And then this is just another picture of the ruins, and then this is what the scenery looks like from Machu Picchu at 7 in the morning. Absolutely, absolutely gorgeous. It's the most beautiful place I have ever been. Alright, and now Morai is the last thing we'll talk about. It's another agricultural site that the Incas had, and it was kind of like a laboratory for them to figure out what crops grew the best at which temperatures. And I got to actually mountain bike to this place on trails like this, which was really, really neat. And arrived to Morai, and then actually climbed down these andenes. They're about 25 feet between each spot, and each level, each circle is a different temperature, and at different times of day they all have different amounts of shading, and therefore it's interesting to see what crops grow at the best temperatures, and etc. And then this is a guide that took me on the mountain biking trek up there, and you go through a salt mine that they have there, and then I also got to learn how to spin yarn from llama wool from a wonderful native Peruvian woman there at Morai as well. So I had incredible experiences in Peru, and I hope that all of you have been able to gain something from this and kind of a new appreciation for the Incas if you didn't know anything about them before. So go ahead and go look up something fun that you find about them, and we will talk to you soon. Hasta pronto, clase.